an original story concept that I haven't heard before. There's forbidden magic and she needs help from a prince that she doesn't even want to marry. Takan said some words that got me when he was talking about how he wants her knot he wants her knot tied to his knot for the rest of their lives. I said, oh my god, that's a man. That's a real man. The whole snake shit, the whole snake mess. I said, girl, do your daddy know? The stakes were raised, so I'm like, oh, you've got magic. What's the problem with that? Oh, it's forbidding magic. Oh, snap, girl, what does that mean? But it was great. It kept me turning the page because I'm like, what? What? Oh no, what? Something wasn't what it seemed. Okay. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Aaliyah Zealous. I am a self-published author, and today we are reviewing Six Crimson Cranes by Elizabeth Lim. This book got me out of a reading rut. Let me tell you, if I'm being honest, I haven't finished a book this is probably terrible. I haven't finished a book in about a year and a half. I've picked up books, I've started reading them, and then I've been getting bored halfway through. We'll get more into that further into the video, but I picked up this book. This book was recommended to me by, oh, I gotta find out homegirl's name. All right, I got my phone. It was recommended by this TikToker on TikTok. She be reading them books. She be reading them books. So that's who recommended this book on TikTok. So I actually had a list, but you know, my heart goes wherever it goes, whatever interests me. So I just read the backs of them, what they were about, and this one called to me. So this is the one that I picked up first. I really love this book. Y'all gonna see why. So we're gonna get into this. So I have my trusty notebook that I wrote my notes down in, and I also have my Kindle here. I got the ebook version. I did not get the paperback because I'm poor. I could not afford the extra $6 in shipping. So we have the ebook. We're frugal. Which also has some notes in it as well. As I was reading, I was taking notes. So first of all, the cover is beautiful. Like the cover art, it's so stunning. I don't think I've really seen art like this before, and that's what really caught my eye. Missed opportunity. I should have wore like red makeup to match this. I have on green because I was filming another video, which it was like a green aesthetic. But I should have wore red. Missed opportunity. But the cover is so beautiful. It is absolutely stunning. I don't think I've ever, I'm trying to not get the ring light in there. I don't think I've ever seen artwork like this before. And that attracted me to the book because it's just so beautiful. It's so vibrant and it's unique. This book is written by Elizabeth Lim, who is an Asian American author. She's an indie author, and this is my first book that I've read of hers. So what attracted me to this book in the first place was it is fantasy, and you know I love me a good fantasy book. I'm all about fantasy. It's fantasy. It was like dark conspiracy, an original story concept that I haven't heard before. There's forbidden magic and she needs help from a prince that she doesn't even want to marry. So it was just a melting pot of really good and interesting concepts that I was ready to sink my teeth into. So I'm going to read over the summary for you guys just so you can get a good idea of what this book is about. Oh, I thought I had it on my phone. Did I delete it? That's okay. Google 6 Crimson Crane summary. So this book follows a princess named Shioriyanma. I hope I'm saying that right. I feel like I am. Shioriyanma. The only princess of Kyoto has a secret. Forbidden magic runs through her veins. Normally she conceals it well, but on the morning of her betrothal ceremony, Shiori loses control. At first, her mistake seems like a stroke of luck, forestalling the wedding she never wanted, but it also catches the attention of Reikama, her stepmother. Am I recording? Oh, thank the Lord. A sorceress in her own right, Reikama banishes the young princess, turning her brothers into cranes. She warns Shiori that she must speak of it to no one, for with every word that escapes her lips, one of her brothers will die. Penniless, voiceless, and alone, Shiori searches for her brothers and uncovers a dark conspiracy to seize the throne. Only Shiori can set the kingdom to rights, but to do so she must place her trust in a paper bird, a mercurial dragon, and the very boy she fought so hard not to marry. And she must embrace the magic she's been taught all her life to forswear, no matter what the cost. So that is the summary of the book. Good, right? Good. I would recommend this book to be read by, this book can be read by anyone. Basically, it is for young adult, new adult, adult. It's safe for all ages in my opinion, because there's no adult content, there's no sexual content, there's no swear words or adult themes, but that does not make the story any less complex or compelling. It just makes it very clean and for anyone to read, especially if you aren't a fan of like content with a lot of curse words or content with heavy adult themes. This is a good fantasy. So the first half of this video is going to be my review and the thoughts on this book without any spoilers. So people who haven't read it yet or are thinking about reading it can read it with a clear mind. And then the second half of this book, we're gonna get a little bit into this book. And then the second half of this video, we're gonna get a little bit into the dirty details. Not too much. There may or may not be spoilers. We'll definitely warn you guys ahead of time once we get to that mark. Once we pass my review portion and my thoughts on the book, I will let you guys know when we're going to go deeper into the book, and there may be some spoilers or not, so you can check out if you want to. Okay, so on to my review. The main character of this book, Shiori, she made me chuckle. I thought she was very endearing. She has a very likable personality, and she is what I would consider a badass female lead. There's nothing, I really hate the female leads who are kind of considered badass but are very rude and rebellious for no reason whatsoever, and it's under this guise of them being a badass when in actuality they aren't. It's kind of just them being toothlessly rude for no reason. Shiori, in this case, she's actually very likable with an authentic sense of adventure lust and meaningful independence and an actual sense of humor. I actually thought she was funny. I didn't think, you know how some books can get into that whole dry humor, and I know that that's some people's thing, but the dry humor for me is just getting so played out, and it's getting dry. It's getting drier. So the whole dry humor thing, it isn't really funny to me, because sometimes it plays off of just doing something weird or something that's not even funny, but then trying to say that it's supposed to be funny, but it's supposed to be dry humor. I don't know what it is, but to me, Shiori is actually funny. Oh, the character development of Shiori is fantastic in my opinion. At the beginning, you could see her immaturity. You could see how her actions are kind of selfish in their own right, but to me, I thought that it was actually appropriate, especially for her age, the situation that she was in. And as you develop through the story, you could really see how she matures, how she grows, how the other characters hold her accountable for her actions, and how she faces herself and holds herself accountable for her actions. I thought the character development was very spot on and progressed beautifully. And she also confronts her problems in a way that is impactful and satisfying to the reader. She also has this kind of I'm not like other girls attitude, but not in a way that puts you off, not in a way that's annoying. It's in a way where she, you know, she doesn't like to wear princess clothes, she doesn't really like to sew, but it's done in a way where it kind of just seems like her, you know? When other books do it, it's in an annoying way where it feels like the main female character doesn't want to do all of these considered feminine things simply for the fact that they're feminine, and it feels forced and unnatural. But since Shiori was raised with 6 brothers, and I can relate because I was raised with 4, her reasoning for not liking some of these things seems believable. It seems more so like she's a princess who so happens to not like these things like sewing or wearing princess clothes and stuff like that, because essentially she was raised by brothers who were doing other things, and that's where she was having fun with when she was with her brothers doing these other things. So to kind of be isolated as the only girl, to have to kind of uphold these certain activities or have to do them by herself without seeing like her brothers having to do them or anything like that, it feels more so natural and believable that she would kind of not enjoy certain things as much as she would enjoy them when certain things when she's with her brothers. And it doesn't feel like how other female characters, you know, reject certain things that are feminine because they don't want to be associated with other feminine things or things that are considered feminine things. Feminine. I don't know how many times I can say feminine. Oh, so on to the villain of the story. The villain, Rekama. I hope I'm saying that right, Rekama. I actually like that name, so I hope I'm saying it right. I should have Googled some of these names. I don't know if they would have told me the truth of what it would sound like, but that's how I'm spelling it out. Rekama is the villain. She is Shiori's and her brother's stepmother. They also call her the Nameless Queen, which is so mysterious, very fitting. And I loved her. I loved how Elizabeth wrote Rekama. I think that she was a complex villain. Oh, so that's what I love the most. So I'm a big believer that your story is only as good as your villain, honestly, because your villain is what is supposed to push your main characters and kind of cause them to grow. So in the case of Rekama, she was a complex villain. It wasn't a thing of, oh, she's just evil because she's evil for no reason other than liking to be evil. And it wasn't a thing of, oh, she's a woman, I'm a woman, there's only enough room for one woman in this town kind of BS. The relationship between Shiori and Rekama was very complex. You could see from the beginning that the relationship that they currently had was not always what they had before, and something has changed along the way, and the actions of why they're doing certain things doesn't quite line up. So you could tell that there's something complex lying underneath all of it that is giving reason to why they're doing what they're doing or why they're feeling what they're feeling. I even really like Rekama's vibe. She has that whole subtle kind of Maleficent vibe, and I really like that. So it was really enjoyable to see her on the page. And she was just overall a complex character. I mean, I was jumping back and forth between, like with the relationship, I was jumping back and forth between like, like I didn't even really know what side to pick because their relationship was complex and it showed. I didn't know what was going on, and you know, I'm a good judge of character. I love a good mystery. I think that Shiori's relationship with her family and her brothers was very endearing. It was just so wholesome, so I enjoyed watching that aspect, watching like this was a movie. It felt like a movie in my head, but I enjoyed watching that. I keep saying watching, reading those sections of the book of how her relationship with her brothers were. And her relationship with her brothers didn't change at all, but it didn't need to. It was very wholesome, and I love that. Okay, so on to the writing. The writing in this book is so clean and clear. I love it. It's very simple to read. It got me out of a reading rut because the books that I've been reading, I don't feel like I've been picking up any specific type of book, but I haven't been able to finish reading a book in a year and a half, and it's because the writing is too complicated. It's like reading poetry. I don't know, it's poetic poetic prose. The writing has been a little bit too complicated, and you know, maybe I'm a simpleton. You know, maybe I'm dumb a little bit, but the writing has been too complicated for me. You know, it's almost like reading Shakespeare or the Bible, and I hate Shakespeare, and I hate when writing is so flowery and complicated, almost like the author is trying to prove how smart they are or how good of a writer they are, rather than actually tell a compelling and engaging story. So some of the books that I've been reading, not that some of the stuff that they've been writing is unnecessary, but how they've been writing feels unnecessary. Like, it's unnecessarily complicated. Like, get to the point. Again, maybe I'm too dumb for complex prose, but like, I hate Shakespeare. I don't want to read. I picked up a fantasy book. I don't want to read your poetry. If I wanted to read your poetry, you should have put poetry out, and then maybe I would have decided if I wanted to read your poetry. But get to the story, please. So yeah, I haven't finished a book. I haven't finished a novel. Let me say that. I haven't finished this type of, because I've been reading, like, you know, manga, graphic novels, all that good stuff. But I haven't finished a novel in a year and a half, and it's unfortunate because I've seen some good concepts out there. I've seen some good storylines, but with everything surrounding it, I just haven't been able to get through it because the stories just feel like they're at a certain point, they feel like they're going nowhere. So I really like this story because the writing is clean, it is simple, it is clear. Do not confuse that with the book not being complex or anything. Like, it's definitely up there, but it's in a way where you can actually digest the story, and the words melt away because you're not focused on what the heck this complicated piece of prose that you're trying to put together in your head. The words just melt away, so you're able just to see the story and visualize the story, and it's like each sentence has a meaning, and it gently hands you off to the next sentence on your ride of the book. Pacing is pretty perfect. It doesn't drag on, it doesn't linger in one part too unnecessarily. There isn't any info dumping. All the information is expertly woven into the story, so it doesn't feel like you hit a snag in the book. All the characters within the story are so charming and believable, even the rude ones. Like, there was some rude ones where I was like, who are you talking to? And that's good, because you want characters who are meant to be rude and who actually give that off so well, where you really in your feels, like, who are you talking to? So all of the characters were very charming and believable, and even just the structure of the world building is beautiful, and even just how you could tell that it's kind of a whimsical world. I could smell the fresh air through the book. I don't know how else to put it, but when you're in the world, when you're in this Kyoto, it's beautiful. The author did a good job with the world building and making a unique world for the reader to dive into. Back to Shiori, our main female lead. So for one, she is a badass. You can see her going through her trials and tribulations and really overcoming them and going through them, because even though she's scared, but because she has a goal that's greater than her fear. And it was really inspiring and enjoyable and felt believable to actually see her emotional process as she's going through her trials and her journey, rather than other books with female leads where kind of her sense of adventure or her sense of badassery is being able to keep up with the men, or being able to do something completely dangerous and reckless and be like, see, no big deal. And it's like, girl, shut up. There are a lot of intense and exciting parts. Like, this is a very adventurous book. I like how this book has a little bit of everything. You know, there's some mystery, there's a little bit of romance, there's a little bit of thriller inside of the book. I like how there's a little bit of everything inside the book because it makes it feel well-rounded and a complete whole story that was fulfilling in a way. It wasn't just stuck in, I don't know where else I'm going with that, but I like when a book has a little bit of everything because it just feels more well-rounded. The romance within this story, I would consider like enemies to lovers, even though I hate that trope. I really do. But the trope within this book, it's more complex than just enemies to lovers. It's not just they hate each other, but then they fall in love for their toxic behaviors towards each other. Don't get me started on that. But I would consider it enemies to lovers just for the mere fact that at the beginning they don't, well, it's kind of one-sided. Shiori mostly doesn't like her betrothed, but just because there's that dynamic there, I would consider it enemies to lovers. But it's more complex than just toxic people with their toxic behaviors and accepting toxicity as, oh my god, they love me. I'll also consider it a slow burn. It's a slow burn and it's natural, but it's not like slow. That's why I say a slow burn, but it's natural. It's because there is a build up to their romance, but it's good. It's good and it's natural. I also love that Shiori is a critical thinker. I love that within the story, she actually thinks through her actions and isn't making certain choices based on like a silly misunderstanding. I think some authors can fall back on that, and I think that that's a little bit lazy, that it's just a silly misunderstanding, something that could have easily been cleared up if, you know, the main character would have just asked. But I love that she's a critical thinker, and that's very satisfying as a reader to see her actually recognize when something isn't right or to clear things up on the spot. And that's very satisfying as a reader because, you know, you're reading and you see the bullshit, and it feels very satisfying when the main character also sees the BS that's going on, the obvious BS. It isn't just la-di-da, oh this happened, la-di-da. That's annoying. So the overall book is beautiful. So there's so many twists and turns, girl, you're not gonna see shit coming. They're all mostly in the last 25% of the book, but once they start coming, you still record. Oh, okay, so whatever. So there's so many twists and turns that once they start coming, they're like bow, 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 bow. You're not gonna even know your own name by the time you done with all of these twists, because there were so many that was happening. And I love the twist, but girl, by the time there was a lull in the book, I forgot which, it was like chapter 38 or something like that. By the time there was a lull in the book, girl, I needed a cigarette because I was exhausted. But it was great. It kept me turning the page because I'm like, what? Oh no, what? All I know is by the end of the book, you're going to be rooting for people that you wasn't rooting for at the beginning. You're going to be hating people that you knew was right to hate and serves them right. And then you got people in the background that was mostly in the background for the book that now they brought themselves to the forefront because they want to be relevant. Girl, you just gonna trust nothing. Trust nothing. No, I'm just kidding. Trust some things, but listen, don't have no expectations. Just be along for the ride. Overall, I give this book a 5 out of 5 stars because it was great. Everything was great. The writing was there, the main characters was there, the tropes were done well if there were tropes. It was an original storyline that I've never read before. Well written, satisfying, multiple twists and turns. I'm almost positive if I were to tell any spoilers in the first half of the book, there would still be plenty of twists and turns that would keep you engaged within the book. Even though it's in the last like 25% of the book, the whole story is so beautiful, and there's already so many things set up at the beginning that you don't get bored. You keep going through the story, and even as I read it over a couple of weeks, even when I set the book down, I never felt like, oh, I can't come back to the book, or I don't want to come back to the book, or it's too laborious to come back to the book. I wanted to come back to the book, and it was very relaxing when I did. So 5 out of 5 stars. It was great. Let me see, what else did I have? Okay, that's it for the review part of the book. For this next half, I'm going to go a little bit more into the book, what I thought, maybe my grievances and stuff on certain parts. Some parts that had me in a chokehold, some parts that made me gasp, and some parts that made me faint. So if you guys are going to stay for that part, pull up a seat and stay, because we're gonna get into it. It just came for the basic review, just to see what the book is about. I will see you guys in the next one, but make sure you come back, girl, because we about to talk about you. We about to talk about you and how you didn't even read the book, how you still haven't even got the book yet. So when I first started reading this book, I didn't really know what to expect. Immediately by the 3rd page, I was in love with Shiori. Like, I actually liked her as a character because she was so likable. She was charming, she was funny, and she was lighthearted. I don't know if you guys would disagree with me. I would be surprised if anybody disagreed with me that Shiori wasn't a likable character, because I really felt that she was likable and she didn't follow all those tropes that a lot of other books follow that are very, I don't even know the word, but you know, very ugh. At first, I didn't know if her magic was, I didn't know if she had magic. And I shouldn't know, because I read the back of the book. But listen, every single time I read the back of the book, I always forget. I remember the whole gist of what the book is supposed to be about, but for the most part, I'd be forgetting stuff. So when I first saw the paperwork, I didn't know that it was a paper. I didn't even know it was real. I didn't know it was magic. But then I was like, oh snap, she got magic. And then I was like, oh, it's forbidden magic. And then this is where it made sense, where, you know, the stakes were raised. So I'm like, oh, you've got magic, what's the problem with that? Oh, it's forbidding magic. Oh snap, girl, what does that mean? So when she explained that because it's forbidden, she could be sent away from her kingdom, her father could send her away because nobody in the kingdom liked magic, I felt for her. And for me, that raised the stakes. So her having magic but not being able to share with anyone, knowing that she could be sent away to a demon mountain of all places, girl, I would have been scared too. Again, when it came to Rakama, her stepmother, she was such a complex villain for me. Of course, the complexity gets even more complex when we get to the end of the book, but she was such a complex villain for me, and that's why I really loved her, because I could tell right off the bat that something wasn't what it seemed, and their relationship was much more complex than evil stepmother. So when she was at the festival and when she first met the dragon Seiru, and she was kind of running off away from her brothers, and her brothers were telling her to be there on time and stuff. Now this is where I could really see her immaturity, where I could see her making questionable decisions and annoying decisions. So this is where I was like, oh snap, oh, I don't know how I'm going to, I was kind of taking a little bit of steps back from liking her as a main character. But then I was like, no, you know, she is 16. This could be due to her age and stuff like that. You know, she's a pampered princess. She got 6 older brothers that always did a lot of the hard work. So I was like, let me give this a chance, because I wasn't ready to give up on my girl. Like, I already liked her. I already thought she was charming. I wasn't ready to ban her. When Seiru started teaching her magic and she was able to give like little bits of her soul away, interesting, kind of resurrect things, I thought her magic was really interesting. I thought that it was, wow, it intrigued me. And I was also excited about the demons in the mountain. At first I thought that everybody's going to be wrong about the demons in the mountain, and watch, they're just going to be like regular people with magic living in harmony within the mountain. Girl, boy, was I wrong. I was wrong. And then at some point while Seiru was teaching her magic, he's like, but one day your magic, first off, he's like, yes, let me teach you magic, Shiori. I can teach you how to control it, and yeah, you have magic that can do this, yeah, you have magic that can do that, but then at the end of all that, he's gonna go like, yeah, one day your magic is going to be dangerous, and it's very dangerous for you, Shiori. And I'm like, what the heck? You was just, I could train you to do this, yeah, you will be able to do that, let me train you, and now you're talking about some it's dangerous and you all this doom and gloom. What the heck? Seiru? Like, what do you mean one day her magic will be wild and dangerous? What is wrong with you? So my battery is about to die. It's on like the last little bar and it's blinking, so I'm gonna try and make this quick. At one point I knew that the stepmom was gonna have magic. At first I thought that she was the Seiru's like cousin or something, because she was so up in arms about the dragons. So I was like, oh, she had like all them snakes and stuff, so I was like, oh, that's her cousin. Oh, she knows Seiru. They not cousins. She don't know Seiru like that. I also liked how Seiru kissed Shiori's cheek, and how you could see that he was kind of flirting and he really liked her, even with his bravado of, oh, I'm a dragon and we dragons, we be doing this, whatever. You liked Shiori, you liked her a lot, and that was endearing to see. And at first I thought that they were going to get together. I thought she was going to be like, because she didn't even want to marry her husband, her betrothed in the first place, so I was like, oh, she gonna say screw him and she gonna go be with the Dragon King. That's not what happened in the story. But it was still alluded, like even throughout the story, the times that he kept seeing her and how he was kind of upset and jealous over Takan. Oh, Takan's a whole other story. Takan, her betrothed. I knew that Seiru liked her, and I'm excited to read the second book because I want to see how that develops. I know, I do like Takan. I do like Takan. I do like how their story progressed. However, it would be nice to see a little bit of fighting amongst the boys, especially the dragon and, you know, the crown prince. It's going to be interesting. So I'm excited to read the second book just for that storyline. Oh God, when she showed Rekama's face in the forest and she saw what Rekama really looked like, the whole snake shit, the whole snake mess, I said, girl, do your daddy know? Do your daddy know what he married? Cause this not looking good. So when she first met Takan, and she just thought that he was, cause y'all know they did a little switcheroo on us. Takan was actually the cousin and the cousin was Takan. They did a little switcheroo on us. But when she first met Takan and we didn't know who he was, and we thought that he was just like the prince's cousin, oh my God, I loved who he is. He was very charming, he was very sweet, and you know I got a soft spot for like warm sticky buns, warm cinnamon rolls. I have a soft spot. So when Takan first popped up on the scene and she just thought that she deduced that maybe that was the cousin, and then, you know, the asshole cousin was the prince, whatever, I was like, oh girl, go for the cousin, we gonna go for the cousin. And then they did the switcheroo on us when she got caught, and then we realized that Takan was actually Takan, and then the cousin was actually the cousin. I said, oh girl, go to your man, go to the betrothed. Now when she was on that mountain with all of like the demon fire and everything, see, this is when my opinion on Shiori, she really gained my respect, because it was such a dangerous place. It was a dangerous place to be. She was doing something dangerous, and despite like it being scary, despite her being in pain and stuff like that, she really pushed through because she wanted to save her brothers. See, that gained my respect, and that's when I was like, oh, she's a true badass, because her actions are not like they have to be sacrificial, but you could tell that she was kind of sacrificing her own comfort, and really rationalizing, like, there's other people out here, my brothers, for Christ's sake, are changing into cranes every single day, and it's painful. I can see that it's painful, so if I have to go through this just to save them, then I will. And mad respect, mama. Oh, when the Dragon King came out, that was intense. When he's barreling through the water, I was scared. You see that she was a little bit crazy, because why would you jump? First of all, you got some chesticles on you, girl, because why would you jump out of your basket onto a dragon's back or eyebrow in the middle of the ocean? Whew. Couldn't be me. Now, when she landed where she landed, when she landed into Khan's home place, and she got captured by the cousin and the mama and all them, and Zarina came out. I was like, Zarina, that's a pretty name. Trick. Because who are you? I already knew the way Zarina came out, the way that she came on the scene. I said, there's something about you, and I'm watching you. At first I was like, oh, is this the Trick? The other Trick that's trying to get in our betrothed's good graces? She wasn't. She was worse, but you know. Okay. She was cruel too. Oh, I didn't like Zarina from the start, and I knew I had a reason not to like Zarina from the start, because she was cruel. Like, why would you take the cloak back and put her in a cold cellar thing with rats and stuff? Like, you are cruel, and I don't like you. Ooh, and when Magari, I love Magari too. She's such a little cutie. And I was on her side the whole time because she was on our side. When she pointed out that Zarina wasn't herself and that she was paler than usual and all this other stuff, I said, she a demon, and I know she a demon. She wasn't a demon, but she came from the places that demons come from. So I was close. I loved how Takan and Shiori's relationship developed. I love how sweet and kind that he was to her from the beginning. And I love that Shiori got to see who he truly was. Takan had me. He had me. I like how he held her accountable for her actions. Even when she was, even though she ignored him when they were younger, she ignored his letters and all that other stuff. He didn't punish her for it, but I like how he brought it up and he held her accountable for her actions. Because, like, girl, you hurt my feelings. Girl, you was doing too much. You were all out here avoiding me for a childish reason. You didn't even really know me. So I like that he expressed his feelings, and they got to talk about it like adults. Takan said some words that got me. When he was talking about how he wants her knot, he wants her knot tied to his knot for the rest of their lives. I said, oh my God, that's a man. That's a real man. And I love how Shiori was making hard choices. Like, even at the festival when her and Takan were really close together and she could really tell that she really loved him, really cared for him, she knew that she had to go. So she made hard choices and she stuck by them. And I said, yes, girl, mature queen. It was Zarina all along. I knew it was Zarina. And you know, when she died in the forest with that arrow through her neck, she got what was coming to her. I said, serves her right. And we knew it was Hasij too. He didn't go unnoticed. Hasij was just as bad as Zarina, and he was awful too. Around this time is when all the twists and turns started coming, and Zarina wasn't really Zarina, she was Gaia, and Gaia was the servant from the beginning, which I peeped her at the beginning. I saw that she was a weirdo at the beginning. She did something that I was like, but because, you know, everything started happening, I didn't even remember her. So when she went back to her, I said, okay. Now the only thing is, I don't really understand how Shiori broke her curse at the end, like how the bowl cracked, because she spoke Takan's name and she was like, Takan, watch out, and then the bowl cracked on her head and then her curse was broken, and they were saying that her curse was broken. But when she asked her stepmother towards the end, she was like, would my brothers really have died if I spoken a word? And she said yes, because the pearl doesn't lie, it tells the truth. So I'm still a little bit confused on how she was able to break her curse and crack the bowl on her head without any of her brothers dying, because she said, Takan, watch out. That's 3 words. That should have been 3 brothers. So I'm still confused on that, but you know, I ain't mad because the story turned out how I wanted the story to turn out. But I'm still confused on how that was possible. He had my heart. He said the demons would have to rip him from her side. I said, I was exhausted by this time. This is when I needed a cigarette, girl, because I was tired. I don't even smoke. So then when the stepmother came to save her, I said, yes, come through, stepmommy. And I said I knew their relationship was more complex than what it was leading on. I love that her stepmother was trying to protect her in all of her strange, interesting ways. And then it started to really make sense when she was talking about her dragon pearl. The pearl didn't really belong to her, it belonged to her sister. And it it kind of does what it wants, or it interprets things how it wants to interpret it. That starts to make sense, and I'm excited for book 2 because I think it also mentioned that the pearl on the back of book 2, that the pearl does some things with Shiori in the same light. So that made sense as to why you could see why stepmother was trying to protect her children, but at the same time it was looking super suspicious and hella strong. All right, I think that's not okay. I gotta wrap it up because it is dying. So it was sad that Shiori had to leave her brothers, Takan, her family, to go to the underwater dragon kingdom, and that's how the story ended. So I'm excited for book 2 because I really want to see what she doing in the dragon kingdom. Seiru was acting hella jealous, so I know he gonna try some moves to get in between her and Takan. So I'm just intrigued to see how that whole thing blossoms or whatever. I'm excited to see what this pearl is going to be doing to Shiori, the good and the bad. So I'm just really excited for book 2. So whole book, 5 out of 5 stars. If you read it, girl, let me know if you thought it was 5 out of 5 stars. I did, and maybe that's because I've been in a reading rut for the past year and a half, and this was the first book that I could actually get through, but I thought that it was good. If you did too, let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please like and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.